Emperor Vrak Thalm's golden scroll arrived with an impossible demand: 40% of Earth's minerals, annually, or annihilation. The Crothan delegation delivered the scroll with ceremonial arrogance to the President of Earth. President Andrew Park read the ornate scroll. His face betrayed nothing. The text demanded submission. The Crothan Empire requires 40% of all mineral extraction. Non-compliance means devastation.
Sir, this is an ultimatum we cannot meet. It would cripple us.
He had already seen the shape of something the Empire would not expect.
Park's next words would set a trap. None of them could yet see.
Prepare a reply. We will comply. Ask for 20 days to prepare the first shipment.
20 days? This gives them everything they want?
The reply was transmitted. The Empire would underestimate humanity. On Crotha, Emperor Vrak Thalm received the reply. He threw back his head and laughed.
They have surrendered without a whisper. Summon every noble house to the capital for a grand ceremony.
Invitations fluttered across the Empire. Every lord and lady would witness the human tribute. Aboard the mover transport, President Park gathered his core team in the cavernous hangar.
Captain Holt, your ship has the gravitational precision we need. Can you perform a surgical extraction?
The grapples can lift half a mountain without a tremor. We'll snatch anything you point at quietly.
The target is symbolic, not military. We deliver a message without a single casualty.
Operation Gift Wrap. We'll return their demand with something they won't expect.
I'll drill the crew immediately. We have 20 days.
The Empire celebrated, unaware that Earth had already chosen its response. In the Mover's tactical center, Ilara Chen projected a stolen schematic of the Imperial Palace.
The central tower has 3 gravitational anchors. If we counter-resonate with the grapples, it will lift free without a scratch.
I've towed asteroids the hard way. This will be a dance.
They expect tribute. They'll get their own palace tower, gift-wrapped and delivered.
He knew the margin for error was a single bolt. A fraction off, and everything collapsed.
On Crotha, preparations for the grand ceremony consumed the capital.
Emperor, the noble houses are all arriving. This tribute day will be remembered for centuries.
Good. Let them witness the fruits of true power. Earth's ores will build new temples to our glory.
Security scans show nothing unusual. The humans appear to be complying fully.
13 days remained. The Mover's systems were primed, and Earth's response would be a masterpiece of restraint. The 20th day arrived. On the Mover's bridge, President Park gave the final order.
Captain Holt, execute Operation Gift Wrap. No casualties. Surgical precision.
Aye, sir. All systems green. We'll make it look easy.
The Mover detached from Earth's orbital docks, its colossal claws folded. False mining ships screened its departure.
Crothan, traffic control, accepted our flight plan. They're counting the hours until their tribute arrives.
If this fails, Earth will remember it as the day we lost everything.
From the bridge, Ilara Chen monitored Crothan chatter. The nobles bragged about the lavish ceremony. The Mover's twin engines burned orange, hurling it away from Earth. It carried no ore, only a promise.
Jump in 3, 2, 1.
Space folded around the Mover, and Earth vanished. The Empire's lesson was already in transit. Aboard the Mover, the crew ran final diagnostics. Every system had to function flawlessly.
Grapples calibrated. We'll lift that tower without a single jade chip cracking.
The moment we drop into Crothan space, every sensor will lock onto us. No second chances.
On Crotha, Doran Vess studied the approaching human ship in the surveillance chamber. His unease grew.
This vessel has no cargo bays. Its massive claws are for grasping, not hauling ore. This is not a cargo transport. The humans are planning something else entirely. Emperor, the human ship's design is wrong. Those claws are built to seize, not to deliver tribute.
You see threats in shadows. Humanity is weak. They have accepted their fate. Enough of your paranoia. Prepare the welcome ceremony. I will not hear another word of doubt.
The Emperor's arrogance left the Empire blind. The mover sailed closer, its true purpose hidden. The mover dropped from hyperspace into Crothan space, its massive form fully visible to Imperial sensors.
Crothan Control. This is the human transport mover. We carry the first tribute payment as agreed.
They're clearing us a direct descent corridor, straight to the capital. They want the spectacle.
Imperial Traffic Control transmitted the landing path without hesitation. The Empire still saw a broken foe. The mover pierced the atmosphere, orange fire sheathing its hull as it descended toward the gleaming capital. Below, the Imperial Palace shone like a jewel, its central tower untouched for 1,000 years.
We're right on top of their arrogance. All grapples online.
Coordinates locked. When you engage, the tower will lift like it was never anchored.
The mover hovered above the palace, its 6 claws unfurling like the fingers of a meticulous hand. The Empire busied itself with parades and pageantry, completely unaware the tribute had already been redefined. On the mover's bridge, Elara Chen initiated the gravitational dismantling sequence.
Counter-resonance engaged. The tower's anchors are releasing.
From the ship's 6 claws, concentrated gravitational beams lanced down, enveloping the ancient stonework in shimmering blue force fields. The mortar between stones glowed white-hot as every seam separated cleanly, lifting each carved block without a single crack. In the Imperial Engineering Hub, Torin Krax's monitors screamed the impossible. The palace tower was coming apart.
It's not an attack. It's a dismantling. Alert the Emperor.
Holographic evacuation orders flickered across every corridor. Individual alerts reached every noble's personal device. Emperor Vrak Thon stood frozen on the ceremonial balcony, his hands gripping the rail as his legacy rose into the sky.
They didn't bring tribute. They brought humiliation.
The mover's claws worked like a surgeon, and the Crothan Tower surrendered one elegant piece after another. The last fragmented seam glowed and released. The entire central tower now drifted in the sky, a shimmering monument to Crothan hubris.
Easy does it. Engage primary clamps. We'll cradle it like a newborn star.
The 6 claws closed around the ancient structure, gravitational fields cushioning every contact point.
Tower is secure? Loading sequence initiated. No casualties reported. Not a single Crothan life lost.
Crothan fighters scrambled from the capital's airfields, but their weapons systems remained dark. Any shot risked destroying what they once revered.
Hold fire. Let them take it. I will not make martyrs of my own people.
The mover's cargo bay doors sealed with a resonant thud. The tower now a silent passenger.
Burn for orbit. 12 Ds. They won't follow once we're out of the gravity well.
The ship's engines flared hot orange, and the capital's spires shrank below as the mover clawed for the stars. Even in retreat, the message was clear. Humanity could take what it wanted without firing a single shot. The mover sliced through the upper atmosphere, Crothan warships forming a lattice of firepower that never discharged.
They're not firing. They know we'd pull their whole orbital grid down if they tried.
Every weapon system remained locked but cold. The Empire's claws were clipped by its own fear.
Jump in 3, 2, 1. They won't follow.
The mover vanished into hyperspace, leaving only a scar where the palace tower had stood for a millennium. On the shattered palace grounds, Emperor Vrak Thon stared at the empty sky. His hands trembled.
Your Radiance, the noble houses are demanding answers. What do we tell them?
Tell them we have been given a gift, a lesson in power, and I do not forget lessons.
The court erupted into panicked chaos, but the Emperor's silence was louder than any decree. Earth had taken their symbol without bloodshed. The next move was theirs, and the galaxy watched. The mover returned to Earth, its cargo bay holding a silent testament to Crothan arrogance. Crowds gazed in awe. President Park ran his hand over the jade-inlaid stone, his expression unreadable. The tower could become a trophy, or a message.
We have their tower. The question is, do we keep it as a warning, or return it as a lesson?
If we keep it, we prove we can take what we want, but that also invites retaliation. The Empire will never let this stand.
So we send it back. Not as a threat, but as a mirror. Wrap it up, deliver it with a note that makes them choke on their own arrogance.
Exactly. We match their ceremonial insult with surgical courtesy. No lives lost, no demands, just the truth delivered on a golden platter.
The psychological impact will cripple their pride more than any weapon. They'll be forced to reconsider what kind of opponent they've awakened.
Then we are decided. Prepare the capsule. I will draft the note myself. It will be short, and it will be perfectly polite.
In the quiet of his office, Andrew Park wrote, "Your message arrived in ceremonial scrolls. We return it with the same courtesy. No lives were lost. Think carefully before the next request." The note was sealed. Earth's message would be delivered not with warships, but with the same gilded arrogance the Empire had shown, turned against them. In the strategy room, President Park gathered his team around the holographic capsule design.
We're not gloating. We're returning a message they'll decode in their soul.
They demanded tribute. We send them their own palace. The poetry is devastating.
And if they ever think of another demand, they'll remember the empty sky where their tower once stood.
The team understood then. This was not conquest, but a masterclass in psychological warfare. Later, in the main assembly bay, workers in reinforced exosuits began the delicate encasement. Gravitic foam filled every crevice, then hardened into a crystalline second skin.
It's like wrapping a piece of history, only to mail it back to its own timeline.
Hours passed. The capsule took shape, a sarcophagus for a king's hubris. When it was done, the tower was no longer a prize. It was a sermon, sealed and addressed to the Crothan throne. A technician in a sterile suit carried the sealed note to the assembly bay and placed it inside the capsule, beside the towering stonework.
That single piece of paper will unravel centuries of imperial arrogance.
Humiliation travels faster than plasma fire. They'll feel this burn across every noble house.
The finished capsule was then transported to the orbital launch platform, a journey through silent, darkened shipyards. At the launch site, the monolithic return capsule was loaded onto a remote-controlled drone, Earth's blue crescent glowing behind it.
All systems green. The only thing left is to give it a push and let it speak for itself.
I've never delivered a package that carries this much weight, literally and politically.
The shipyards hummed with a secretive energy, as if the very metal knew it was forging a legend. Soon, the galaxy would witness a new kind of warfare, one fought with patience, precision, and perfect irony. The reverse tribute waited, a silent reply ready to pierce the Empire's heart without shedding a single drop of blood. The return capsule ignited its thrusters and slipped into hyperspace, a ghost headed for Crotha. For hours, it traveled through folded space, a silent envoy carrying a message no Empress had ever received. On Crotha, deep space sensors flickered with an anomaly. A single object, Earth origin, on a direct approach vector.
Alarms, a projectile from the human sector, no energy signature, but guided and fast.
Emperor Vak Thon summoned the council to the war chamber. The hum of the holographic star map filled the tense silence.
Blast it out of the void. This is clearly a retaliatory strike. We must not let it reach the atmosphere.
Wait, it emits no weapons trace. It could be data, a surrender, or a trap. Firing blindly may trigger the war they've avoided.
They stole my tower with precision. This is not a bomb, it's a message. I will not give them the satisfaction of panic. Track it. We will open it under guard.
The capsule sailed onward, and Crotha braced for an answer no one could predict. In the war chamber, Emperor Vrak Thon gave the final command that would define his reign.
Let it come. We will not give them the spectacle of our fear.
The capsule hit the upper atmosphere, a spear of fire descending toward the heart of the Empire. Across the capital, millions looked up as a second sun seemed to fall.
First, my tower, now this. What game are they playing?
Your radiance, the trajectory. It's aimed directly at the palace courtyard.
As I expected, they have lost nothing in that capsule but our dignity. Prepare a detachment to meet it.
The capsule slowed, trailing fire. Still far above, the Empire held its breath. The Emperor had chosen to receive their gift, whatever the cost, and so Crotha waited for the echo of its own arrogance to land on its doorstep. The capsule touched down with a soft hum, landing struts sinking into the ancient stone of the imperial courtyard. A ring of Crothan soldiers formed instantly, weapons leveled at the hissing metal.
Stay back. It could still be a trap.
Lower your weapons. If they meant to destroy us, they'd have done so already.
The capsule's seals cracked with a sharp hiss, steam venting in a white plume as the metal petals peeled back. A familiar golden glow flooded the courtyard.
By the ancestors. It's the tower. Our tower.
The central tower of the imperial palace rose within the capsule, every jade inlay and gold filigree intact, pristine as the day it was stolen.
They didn't destroy it. They preserved it. This is not an attack. It's a sermon.
For a long moment, the Empire stood frozen, staring at the impossible gift that had been torn from them and returned with a silence louder than any war cry. Emperor Vrak Thon stepped forward alone, his robes brushing the ancient stone as he crossed the silent courtyard. He placed a trembling hand on the golden surface of his own tower, jade cool under his touch. A small white card lay tucked in a seam. He withdrew it, the simple paper incongruous against the gold. It read, "Your message arrived in ceremonial scrolls. We return it with the same courtesy. No lives were lost. Think carefully before the next request."
They did not even demand our surrender. They just returned it.
His face cycled through rage, then humiliation, and finally a hollow realization.
They are not weak. They are terrifyingly restrained.
For the first time in his reign, he understood true power, and it was not his.
Your radiance? What does it say?
Vrak Thom said nothing. He simply folded the note and turned away, his silence heavier than any command. The Emperor retreated to his private chambers, the folded note still clutched in his hand. In the council hall, pandemonium erupted. Nobles shouted over one another in a frenzy.
I have analyzed the dismantling footage. Their gravitational beams separated every stone with zero tolerance. If they intended this precision for destruction, not a single city would survive their arrival.
This is proof we must strike first, before they perfect their weapons.
Strike first? They dismantled our palace without killing a soul. They are not afraid of war. They are demonstrating its absurdity.
The holographic display showed the tower coming apart, each block cradled in a gravitational field. The council looked to the throne. The Emperor had not spoken a single word. Vrak Thon sat in darkness, staring at the empty wall where his palace portrait had hung. The Empire's fate hung on a single choice he was not yet ready to make. He called up the archival footage of his palace from before the theft, the tower standing proud, a symbol of unbroken rule. The contrast to the empty sky outside his window was a wound that would not close.
They could have burned it all. Instead, they sent it back, as if to say, "Look what you almost lost."
He then replayed the actual dismantling, surgical beams cradling his heritage, not a single stone damaged.
No brute force, no fire, only control. They are showing me a mirror.
The note lay open on his desk, its words echoing with every replay. Think carefully.
He read it again in the human tongue. Pensive baying antes do próximo pedido. Think carefully before the next request.
His hand moved to the royal tablet. He began drafting the decree that would undo the demands. The tablet read, "All tribute demands upon Earth are hereby revoked. The fleet will stand down, effective immediately." He signed with the imperial seal, the decree that would reshape an empire and preserve it. The imperial decree broadcast on every frequency, from the capital to the vanguard fleet. Vrak Toln transmitted the order himself, his face a mask of hard-earned wisdom. The Crothan fleet, en route to enforce the vanished tribute, received the stand-down and turned in silence. On Earth, the news broke like a wave. The Empire had withdrawn all demands. Spontaneous gatherings filled the streets, but the celebrations were somber. Relieved that war had been averted, President Park read the official communiqué, a simple message of cancellation. He allowed himself a thin, private smile, then set the paper aside without a word.
They understood the message. Now, we wait.
He gave no press conference, no victory speech. The event itself was the statement. Humanity had won without firing a shot, and the galaxy took notice. In the weeks that followed, the Crothan Palace became a pilgrimage site, its hollow wound a permanent lesson. Tour guides told the story of the tower's removal and return, and the Empire's change. Across the galaxy, diplomatic channels buzzed with a new understanding. Power could be wielded without destruction. President Park received a single, encrypted message from Crotha. It was no formal decree, but a private note from the Emperor himself. It said only, "Your point is taken. There will be no further demands, no apology, no admission," but the message was clear.
He understood. The war was over.
The two civilizations entered a tense but respectful peace, the tower's absence a silent guardian. Earth and Crotha, now linked by a mutual lesson in restraint, began the slow process of building something new. Years passed. The Crothan Palace Tower was rebuilt, but not as before. A small plaque at its base told the story in both human and Crothan script. On Earth, the mover transport was retired and opened as a museum, her claws now cradling visitors instead of towers. Children played beneath her massive arms, learning that sometimes the greatest weapon is a mirror. In classrooms, the event was taught as the defining moment of restraint, power wielded without cruelty. Students drew pictures of the mover, the tower, and a note tied with a simple string. One child's crayon drawing captured it all. The ship, the tower, and a small white card floating beside it. The lesson had become part of the curriculum, and the galaxy's future was written in those bright, hopeful lines. On Crotha, a new generation grew up knowing that strength was not in demanding tribute, but in returning it, and the mover stood silent, a monument not to war, but to the moment humanity redefined victory. In a quiet study overlooking a coastal city, retired President Park regarded a small hologram. It displayed the Crothan Tower, rotating slowly above his desk, a gift from the Emperor on the first trade anniversary.
They understood the lesson. That is all any of us can ask.
On Crotha, Emperor Vrak Tholn sat in his private study. Older now, the lines of his face softened. The framed human note sat under a single light, its simple words more precious to him than any war trophy.
We demanded iron, and they gave us a mirror. I have never received a finer gift.
Between the two worlds, a steady stream of trade ships now passed, the old fear replaced by a quiet, purposeful exchange. And in the halls where warriors once brandished demands, a single white card became the most treasured artifact of an empire. The universe learned that day that humanity's greatest weapon was not its technology, but its restraint. And somewhere, in the quiet between stars, a tower still stands, not as a symbol of conquest, but of a war that was won without a single shot.